So when we talk about mission, what we're really talking about is the goal of whatever endeavor we're in. It's just another way to say what's the goal, what's the end state of that endeavor. The mission actually brings clarity to what to what we're going to do, and it actually allows autonomy. So if somebody understands what the mission of the company is or what the mission of the job is, what's the end state of the job, what's the goal of the job, if they understand that well, then they can make autonomous decisions in the middle of a complex operation that you might not have the time to plan every stage, every step, or as we know, something always goes wrong. And now what's your guiding principle for making a tactical and strategic decision in the process of something going wrong? Well, if I understand what the mission is, then I can make a much more cogent decision because I will make the decision that supports the mission every time. And by supporting the mission of the company and by supporting the mission of the actual job that you're working, what you're doing is you are showing professionalism. So professionalism for me is developing all the tools so that you could do the job that you're supposed to do at the highest level. And what mission support looks like to the client is that you're reducing friction in their life so that they could do their job most effectively. So when we're working with business people who every minute of the day is dedicated to their mission, making their stockholders money, producing whatever products that they produce, every second of the day is dedicated for them to do that. We take away the things that could distract them from that. Some of the distractions might be their safety or the safety of their people. Some of their distractions might be that they have to order Ubers and they don't know who's going to be driving them and they don't know if they're going to get lost. And so we take all that away by following our mission and being dedicated to the goals of the company. So I don't know if I would have joined the company if I didn't believe in the mission. So the fact that I joined the company in the first place would indicate that I believed in the mission. So if I went to, say, the Globo Protection Company, whose mission was just to generate money and it had nothing to do with the protection of the client or the passion that the Clarks show towards their clients and their protection. If I didn't sense that, I probably wouldn't have joined the company in the first place. So I think it's hard to go into a company and change the culture, but it's very easy to find a culture that aligns with your philosophies. So ultimately, I want to pick people to work for the company. I want those people to already align with the company's values and mission. And that's, for me, that screening part in the beginning. If I get that person who's already aligned with our values and aligned with our mission, that's an easy person to train and an easy person to advance through the company. If I have somebody who's not aligned with the mission of the company and they join the company, then how am I going to get them to align? It's going to be very hard for me to do that. So I think that on a company-wide basis, that evaluation for me personally was made individually at the very beginning of my relationship with the company. Yeah, it's interesting because I think that a job, you said earlier, you said something about you're in this because it's a job, but I think a job is a vehicle for personal development. And if you align with the company's values, you align with the mission of the company, protecting our clients, then it's natural for you to think about development as, well, how do I best do that? What do I do to best protect my clients? Well, you do have a say in that, and that say has to do with your training and your attitude. So I'm looking for somebody who, if I were to look for somebody to advance through the company, I would look for somebody who had a good attitude and was interested in becoming better at the skills of their job. It is extremely hard to ignore a person that has a great attitude and they have the skills to back that up. So you know, if the worst case scenario happens, this person's going to be able to handle it. Well, that just doesn't happen. You know, it just doesn't happen that we pick the right person, they got a great personality, and they just have skills. Nobody just has skills. It's a combination of experience and training. And so we have to show up with humility, knowing that or believing that we don't know everything, and learning from every mistake that we made. So one of the things I said in our class that we were teaching, one of the things we were talking about was failure. And I led with this. I said, failure equals feedback, feedback equals knowledge, and knowledge equals power. So failure equals feedback, feedback equals knowledge, knowledge equals power. The point of me saying this almost immediately when we started the class was that don't fear failure. But the only way I would fear failure is if I didn't learn from it and I made the same mistakes over and over and over again. So the beginning of a job, when you're starting, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. The key is you have to have the humility to be able to look at that, admit that it's a mistake, and then do what you need to do to become better. In a lot of classes I teach, people will talk about their conditioning is bad. Well, that's great that you have the ability to see that your conditioning is not up to par. Now, do you take it that next step, identify it as a weakness, and then go out and do conditioning exercises? Do you make a mistake, realize that you need to fix that mistake, and then do the training to be able to fix it? That's really what being a professional is about, is having the humility to be able to look at what you do and critically evaluate your performance before anybody else says what's going, that something's wrong, and make the changes to make yourself better. And I think that overarching, that mission is what drives that. If you don't understand that the mission is safety of our clients, then there's no way to understand what's successful and what's not successful. So if I could understand what's successful and what's not successful, I just chip away at my failures. I make a failure, I evaluate it with humility, I decide what I need to do to fix it, and then I fix it. Yeah, so I think, so is commitment to the company incremental? I think you come in, I think the best attitude to come into a company with is that you're committed to that company. Part of being, or I think the major role of being committed to the company is being committed to the mission. So understanding what the mission of the company is and then being committed to that mission. There are people who work in companies that a lot of people would not care about that product, but they are hugely passionate about a product like a toothbrush, but they're hugely passionate about that. They're committed to that mission. Because they're committed to the mission, they're going to do everything they could do to develop professionally so that they could further that mission. So maybe the mission isn't the toothbrush, maybe the mission is the sales of the toothbrush, but if you don't believe in that product, it's very hard to sell that product, especially on a large scale. So if we don't believe in our product, it's very hard for us to sell our product to people who really need it. I think we have our mission is a lot more crystal clear because our mission literally is life or death. So with that initial commitment, then the issue is, what can we do to further the mission? And I would say individually. It's just being the best that we can be at our job. You know, learning the policies and procedures, developing great relationships with the people we need to develop relationships with, supporting our supervision, making sure that they're supported so that they could do their job. All of these things come together, and all of these things come together, I think, with that that willingness, internal willingness, to admit what we did right, what we did wrong, and then iterate and get better and better and better. Yeah, that's a good question. So I've gone through a career in my past and retired from a career, and I'm in a different career. So for me, a job, and I don't think I've ever really had a, maybe McDonald's, but I don't think that I've ever engaged in my adult life in a job. For me, everything has been a career, and I see a career as being a lifelong endeavor. I've done this type of work for my entire adult life, and I still mess things up. I still find things that I could do better. I'm always looking for more information, for a way that I could do my job better. And it's not because I'm interested in career development for me personally. To tell you honestly, my career is developed because of my personal development, not because of wanting to advance a career. So what I found was, as my skills advanced, as my ability to deal with clients, to talk with coworkers, to support other people, as I developed better and better skills in those areas, my career naturally advanced. So I think a career, you're looking at it long term, but I think a career rewards professionalism, and that a job rewards showing up and doing the least amount that you need to do. A career supports showing up and doing as much as you need to do above and beyond to support the mission of the company. So I train, but I enjoy training. So I train outside of the job, but I enjoy training, I enjoy teaching. It's fun for me to do that. But even if I didn't find it fun, it is the terminal endpoint of my career, where if I don't train and I have to do the ultimate the ultimate endpoint of my job, which might be to physically defend one of our clients, if I'm not up to par on that, then I failed in my job and I failed in the mission. So, but I look at it beyond that. There's a brief story where I was in Mexico. A client was flying in. We hit extremely unexpected and bad traffic. It was possible that the vehicle would make it on time, but it was also possible that that the vehicle wasn't going to make it on time. I did not want the client to land and not have a representative from Clark there at the airport. So I split the group. I got out of the car and jogged to the terminal. At the same time, the people in the car continued to drive through the traffic to see if they could make it, and whoever made it first was going to be able to greet the client coming off the plane. So did I have to do that? The answer is absolutely not. But I saw not doing that, not having somebody there for the client, as mission failure, even if there was a valid excuse, it was still mission failure. And as a professional, that's unacceptable to me. So as a professional, I won't accept mission failure. I'll find a way to make it work and figure out a way to make it work. And it's not just because it makes the company look bad. It's not just because it makes me look bad professionally. We could explain that stuff away. It's because that's what a professional would do.